I am now going to start the development of the jug. Its color is yellow, its tone is light, and the yellow is a low intensity yellow. And so I'm going to use this low intensity yellow and lighten it with white. Why don't I clean off a mixing place? I'll take the white first, put the yellow into it, and see how it looks. Actually, I feel as though it's too bright, and so I'm going to dull it with a duller yellow, burnt umber, and I've come up with this. And that seems like it is a good basic color. I'm going to take another brush and mix the shadow color, because this is a non-reflective object, and I usually paint non-reflective objects with two tones. The body tone, and that's where the light strikes, and the body shadow, that's where the light cannot strike. I am mixing a violet, the complementary color to yellow, and I'm going to try that out here. I think I'd like it darker. That's better. And so, this pole I have in my hand is called a maul stick. It's going to steady my hand as I go. Steady as we go. I have a filbert bristle brush, which is a brush that's set flat at the furrow but comes to an edge. And so that's where the body tone is, and now I'm going to cut the body shadow into that. There's a feeling of I think I'll make it look as though the cork isn't there. The cork that is in it is not a nice looking cork. Well, that little top sets within the fatness of this, and so I make this come down further and then make that go in back of it. Right there, leaving a lost line. This cylindrical top is casting a shadow on the top. A little bit of light is falling around it. So, I think I mentioned earlier in my painting demonstration that the first thing I do, I paint in bigger than it really is so the next thing can overlap it. And so why don't I put this whole body tone in, going over the edge of the bottle because that's going to go in later, and I'm going to put that in deeper also than I actually see the shadow. I don't like that brush I chose for the shadow color. I would rather use this one with a flat end. The other one is a filbert. And so this is the shadow color. Thicker, more of it, so mix more of it. And let me now put in the shape of the shadow on this non-reflective object. As soon as you find that your brush doesn't slip along the canvas easily, use a little bit more medium. And now here is the all-important turning edge, which is fundamental about non-reflective objects. This right here. This is the part that seems to be so difficult for the beginner painter. It's where you want these two to blend together. Well, here's my way of doing it. I take a darker version of the body tone, less white in my mixture. I have this, and I make teeth. I'm trying to blend those two together, so I blend them together with a continuous wiggle stroke. And now, fuse them. A big blender or just a large brush is very helpful at this point. I would like to now extend the progression of this, or the appearance of this jug a little bit further by putting the color back into the shadow. See, I have yellow. I've turned it into shadow with violet. Now with a darker yellowish orange, I'm going to put color back into the shadow to stop the shadow from looking like a vacant area of illumination. There's always enough reflected light in the room to put color back into a shadow. And because I want the interpretation of this subject to be a little bit mysterious there, I'm going to take my background color on this bigger brush and obliterate that line. Actually, I think this is the beautiful part. The more mysterious you make your shadow areas, the more beautiful the illuminated areas will be. Big areas, big brushes. Small areas, small brushes. A small brush would never be able to give you the solidity that this application with this larger brush does. If you just slide down between the body tone and the body shadow with a more intense color, you can affect a blend. I think it's kind of important right now to suggest the beginning of the structure of these handles. Well, it's here where there's a raised part of crockery, and there's a raised part of crockery over here. And I would like to I line one up with the other. It shows here. You can see where all the little details are better added to the basic structure than rather to include it, because it gives you a chance just to make your paint neat. I would say, you can't be arty, at least be neat. Make the paint look decent. And this is a cast shadow from that handle. You can see that when I do any of the painting that brings out the form very distinctly, I'm using a sable brush. I feel as though this is about as much as I'm going to do to the jug.